Yeah, no, I actually had a very major event take place in my personal life. Suddenly lost my mom on the Thursday right before Christmas. She had a massive heart attack, and yeah, it was tough, man. You know, I found myself yesterday sitting there. You don't realize how much you do for your parents. And I don't mean like financially do for your parents or physically do for your parents. I mean literally when you plan your life, you're not conscious of, I'm doing this to make my father proud or to make my mother proud. You know what I mean? Like I'm making this right decision, not because it's just the right decision, but because I want to see my mom happy, or I want to see, you know what I mean? Hit me yesterday. And I think, you know, I lost my dad in 2009, and he was sick for a long time, diabetes, and you know, I had to do the whole show up to the hospital and make that final decision. Heavy. And then this time, didn't have a chance. You know, I was here in New York City. My mother lived in Vegas, and I was actually about to do an interview with A$AP Ferg. He's literally sitting across from me when the phone rings, and it's the nurse telling me that my mom's
nurse in the hospital.
At the hospital, they're rushing my mom into the hospital.
Did you say anything? Did you stop?
I mean, I stopped in my mind. I stopped. You know, I wasn't. The interview hadn't started yet. I didn't even tell him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But I didn't have all the answers, and so I had to immediately like figure out. Okay, I got to get on a flight. I didn't have a bag. I just jumped on. You know what I mean? Go head to the airport. No bags. No nothing. Just gone. But you know, it's 3:45 on a Thursday before the holiday. It was rush hour traffic. It took 90 minutes to get to the airport. You know, I didn't want to. I had to like make a decision of like, do I just kick everybody out of the room? Do I finish work? She hadn't passed yet, so I'm kind of like in limbo.
Did they tell you that it was looking bad?
No, all I knew was that she had multiple heart attacks. That's all I knew at that moment. Like it was literally going down.
And your mother never had heart problems before,
Never,
right?
nah. She was 70. Just turned 70 in September. And by the time I had finished, so I did the interview, finished, got the flight plans all organized, and was on an airplane by 7 p.m. And by the time I was literally on my way to get on the flight, and they had called me back and told me they couldn't revive her. And damn, man, yo,
that's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Bless you, bro.
Thanks, man. But you know, I didn't really know what to say this morning because everybody's getting back to work, you know, and we share our personal lives a lot, and we're we're very transparent about everything that goes on. I mean, we keep some things close. Like I've never said, you know, my lady's name. She doesn't want to be a part of public like that. I don't put her on social media, but I talk about her. I talk about my daughter. I mean, we make fun of my mom on the show. We make fun of my crazy ass dad.
We had your mom
comes on the show.
She came on a few times.
Yeah.
It had been a little while, but she had come on for some memorable appearances before.
Yo, and right before she passed, she had sent me some show content. Somebody had put up a Craigslist post in Vegas for like an escort service, and put up the wrong number, and it was her cell phone number. So she was getting calls from dudes and peen pics on the Monday before she passed. And she sent me the link and was like, yo, you should talk about this tomorrow. I was like, which part? The fact that you're getting peen pics from dudes? Do you like it? Do you not like it? 70-year-old woman. She was a great woman.
Well,
man,
I will
very
say,
strong.
Ebro, that I think it's really special that you share everything and how you feel with everyone. Because I know a couple people who lost their mothers also. And they told me that when they heard about you, that they felt like, you know, they felt comfort, you know, in hearing that there's someone else that's going through it and is able to express their feelings. So I just, you know, I'm thankful that we all got to meet your mother too. She was an amazing woman, and she always made me smile.
All the time.
Always made me smile.
Rosenberg was actually, you were working on a new project in Vegas, just coincidentally.
Yes.
So Rosenberg actually came over to a little memorial we had at my mom's crib.
Which, by the way, I meant to ask you about a part of that.
Yeah.
Why is your brother not Jewish at all? how did he end up just a Gentile? They were like about to do prayers, and he's like, anyways, Lord Jesus Christ, blah, blah. I was like, what the hell's going on over here?
My mother was very Jewish, but she was not the one that imposed a spirituality choice on any of us.
So he just ended up becoming like his wife, his ex-wife.
Remember, he was raised by my dad. So he went to church. So when he's 5, he's going to church for the first till he was 10, 11 years old. He's going to a Pentecostal church with black people. A white boy going to a Pentecostal church with black people till he's like 11, 12
And by the way, you have to understand, Ebro's brother isn't white. He's white. A different kind of white. It was very interesting to see. And it was sad. It was sad, sad that your daughter didn't know what was going on. That was,
but she got to be there. And here's the real ill part. My mom suffered a lot in her life, right? So, I could go into all the details. My mom was an orphan. Her own family put her in an orphanage, and then she lost her brother, who was her best friend when she was young, and then my brother's father walked out on her, and then my dad was abusive, and she had a black son who she couldn't put up photos of at her job because she felt like people judged her. And I think at the end, and you may look at this in your family too, when your parents fight or you fight so hard, and that moment that you get to relax and everything's good, I feel like my mom had got to that point. Where she raised 2 boys. Nobody's in jail. We're both able to take care of our own families. And I think she just was happy.
In her own neurotic, crazy.
Well, no, she couldn't tell you she was happy.
No, she was always had a thing going on.
Yeah, it was always a fight. It was always a fight because she didn't know how to just enjoy the moment. But you spend 65 years of your life just fighting. Mm-hmm. That's all she knew. And listening to her friends, because she would never tell me that she was proud. Like, that's not my mom. My mom wasn't the, son, I love you. My mom was the, so what are you going to do now? What's your plan now? How are you going to take care of this now? Why are you spending your money on this now? So what are you going to do, and how are we going to, that was just her, that was just all she knew. And
but you got to hear from her friends?
Yeah. And her friends spoke of the joy and, happiness of meeting my daughter. So it was a heavy holiday. And I know Shawnee hit me 20 times. Cause at this point I've lost both my parents, and in both ways that you could lose them. One was sick for a long time, and this one was sudden. And it's not something that you want to talk about in your family. It's not a conversation that you want to have. But my mom was so organized and so put together and so prepared and so everything buttoned up that when this thing happened suddenly the other day, my mom used to quiz me on, you don't even know where my will is, you don't know where this is, and you don't know where that is, and what's gonna happen when this happens and I'm no longer here, are you gonna, I was like, Mom, chill, I know there's a cabinet in the closet. It's been in the closet my entire life, full of papers and things organized with dates, and that was just, my mom had everything together. And what you don't want to have to deal with when you lose a parent is things not being organized. And if I could share anything with anybody growing up right now or listening right now, have the tough conversations when you can have them. Don't have those tough conversations when there's already other things difficult.
Right.
People in hospitals, and when the hospital gives you maybe 30 minutes to figure out what mortuary you're sending. I mean, I just lost my mom. I gotta figure out. I gotta find a mortuary.
When you said that this morning, I didn't even anticipate or think about that part. Like,
where's the body
hospital
going?
is like, okay, you gotta make this happen in like
You got 20 minutes. Where's my mind in 20 minutes?
And now you're hurting, but you're having to call up funeral homes and trying to figure out where to put.
And if your family doesn't have, whatever your spiritual practices are, if there's if it's a cemetery, if it's if there's a burial plot. When I lost my father, on his side of the family, they're very Christian. They want everyone to be buried in the same place. A plot for burial at that site is $6,000. We've been burying our family there for almost 100 years now. There's no space.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. And if you don't own one or haven't been put in pay, you got to now call people, because there are people who own burial plots. They run businesses like that. It's crazy to think like that, but there are people who buy burial plots because they know the value is going to get more expensive, and they sell it to you very expensive later on.
It's a lot to think about.
And I'm literally, you're doing this in days.
And so your mom had everything prepared, so it was easier.
It's easier, but my mom wanted to be cremated. She didn't, and those of you, the Jewish faith is, it's very simple pine box. Cremation isn't a part of it, but my mom was the next level. It was like, what are we doing? And so we're going to go back. I'm going to fly back out. She used to hike all the time. And so we're going to scatter her ashes in this location where she used to hike. And then pets.
What happened to the dog? So what happened to the dog?
I wanted to bring Elton, her dog, which was like her best friend, with me. But then I felt I had friends that used to help my mom out that also had dogs. And so Elton used to hang out with those dogs. So I wanted a piece of my mom with me, because I see Elton But then that's selfish. Because then what are you going to do? You're going to sit in my condo in Jersey City in cold weather and not get walked and not get the attention that my mom used to give the dog.
So you thought it made more sense for him to stay with
other animals and people in outside space and could still walk and hike. And then my brother took the cat. But my brother didn't even want to take the cat.
So why don't you get a piece of mom
the cat?
Yeah, but then my brother ended up taking the cat because his lady was like, no, we're taking the cat. It was like a whole argument over the cat. And now the cat's fighting with the other cats at the other house.
Oh, you should go get that cat from the other cats.
Yeah, but then,
But
she wants the cat.
Yeah, it was sad seeing Elton the dog walking around. He was so confused. He was like, why are there all these people in my house, and where is she?
Yeah.
It was sad.
So, yeah, man. I'm glad I could share that with y'all today, but yeah, man. Plan with your family. I know it's hard, but don't... Man.
But listen, for our audience, I got to tell you guys, we love you, because between that story and playing that new Kanye West, y'all been through a lot this morning.
I know. We put you guys through it.